When thinking about women in anime, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Does an endearing personality even make the list? Or is it all overshadowed by, you know what I mean? With female characters, it isn't so much about them being written terribly, but more so about the roles they're assigned. In most anime, you'll see the women placed in the backseat or on shelves as decorative pieces, just there to look pretty or to serve the one purpose they do oh so well, fan service. Seeing women reduced to fan service in anime or in most forms of media is especially annoying, knowing how it works wonders for the show and how these characters are remembered for their bodies and seldom for their personalities. We get shocked when we see well-written characters like Nobara and Mao and wonder why they are so rarely made. You'd ask yourself, who is responsible for this? Is it the author's fault who believe that looks can overshadow personality? Or is it the fans' fault who eat up all forms of fan service with no shame or regard for the character itself? I believe both sides contribute. Knowing how a hot female character can skyrocket the show's popularity and choosing not to capitalize on that is something only a handful of authors can pull off. This popularity is further reinforced by social media and how quickly fans across the globe jump on the show's bandwagon, and thus begins the endless flow of thirst traps and edits. We saw this with Gojo, and let's face it, he is Gege's cash cow. There is no denying that fact. For female characters, one notable example that I'm sure would sound offensive to some of you is that of Makima from Chainsaw Man. Before starting the manga, I had read overwhelmingly positive reviews about it, and noticed that most of them mentioned Makima. Makima as a character or a villain is certainly well written, and she plays a crucial role being the object of Denji's desires and ultimately his downfall. But what I don't understand is majority of the fan arts or fandom credit the show's success to her existence, when that's clearly false. All she did was play with Denji's very pure and innocent feelings and ripped him apart when he was peak high. When talking about terrible female writing, it'll be a crime not to mention Naruto. When you ask Hinata to do what she's best at, she'll hit you with the Naruto-kun? And with Sakura, it'll be, Sasuke-kun tried to kill me twice. Does that mean he loves me? Their entire existence centered around their men. 9 times out of 10, whenever they got screen time, they'd be thinking of the two who were busy thinking about each other and had zero time for Sakura or Hinata until the very end. They had shallow characters as opposed to their male counterparts and seldom affected the plot of the story beyond a supportive role. The same can be said about the women in Bleach. For a lot of the male-centered shows, especially in isekais, women are needlessly sexualized and often placed on the side, lacking personality and character of their own and being insufferably dense. Another recurring issue with female characters in anime is that they're overtly sexualized whilst being underage or appearing underage. We've got the whole concept of lolicons or siscons in you know which anime, and they become widely popularized as mascots for their shows. Young female characters, often in high school, are subject to those disgusting panels and camera positions and angles that we all know had full intention behind it. In My Hero and One Piece, for example, women are written well and strong, and do affect the plot to some extent, especially in One Piece, but they severely lack diversity and are often objectified by other characters, notably Sanji and Mineta. In the case of One Piece, most women appeared natural, unique, and beautiful pre-time skip, but as the show goes on, all qualities that made them unique were blurred out. The male cast would receive functional outfits, but the female cast would receive rags taped onto their bodies that would fall apart if they were to even breathe. The same was widely done in Fairy Tail, where an arc was not complete unless all the female characters were half naked. You can hide it behind the excuse of character designs or aesthetics or them being fictional and all of this being the author's free will. But what implications would the presence of fan service have on the younger, more impressionable audience? What is it teaching them? And how does it contribute to the wide-scale objectification of women? But don't get me wrong, we do have good female character writing in Jujutsu Kaisen, D-Gray Man, and Attack on Titan. Women who are strong without needing to be sexualized, and that's exactly where our answer lies in. Female characters, if written well, can work wonders too. Not all male characters need to be like Gojo to be loved, so why must women be forced to align to these unrealistic standards to fuel the fantasies of a certain group of people? To cater to this audience, you'll see situations that masquerade as comic relief, such as in Fire Force, where we have Tama, whose arch nemesis are her clothes. Scenes like these add little to nothing to the story, yet is repeatedly done for heaven knows what grand purpose. But now, the tides are finally turning in our favor. With the rise of female authors and artists, and male authors who've had their fair share of grass-touching moments, we're finally being blessed with well-written female characters who contribute fairly to the story, and need not be sexualized to leave their mark on the audience's minds. I hope these recent successes in female characters like Nobara or Mao will pave the path for more endearing characters that'll influence the story in substantial ways.